My name's Colin. I live in Bath in the southwest of England. This is my channel, the A or My channel. And once again, it's time to do some Oscar preview videos. In this video, I will be doing my remaining above the line categories, which at the moment is just the Best Director and the 2 Screenplay categories. That's what I'm going to be dealing with in this particular video. Having already recorded 3 videos in the end of November, the beginning of December, I mean, these are my November predictions, even though I'm now well into December as I'm recording these, but it takes a while to do these videos, particularly when I'm spending a lot of my time watching American football all night. But yes, in this video I will be dealing with those 3 categories and the lists that you will see coming up here. The up and down arrows are going between tiers. In all of these categories I will give a list of 5 nominees and 5 contenders. And let's just get right into it with the Best Director category. And honestly, this is not the most exciting thing I've ever done, because my top 5 is exactly the same top 5 as in my last video. So yes, I still think that Paul Thomas Anderson is going to win Best Director, mainly because he's due. Oh, he is one of America's great filmmakers at the moment, and he hasn't won an Oscar, which seems absurd. I mean, when I started hearing that, everybody was saying, oh yeah, he's going to win because he hasn't won before. I'm saying, well, surely Paul Thomas Anderson has won before. Look through IMDb. Oh shit, he hasn't. One Battle After Another is a great film, I think. Perhaps not his greatest. I mean, I'm on record as saying that my favourite Paul Thomas Anderson film is Phantom Thread. I'm probably in a distinct minority in that. I mean, I think if you asked most people what their favourite Paul Thomas Anderson film was, I think the majority would say There Will Be Blood. Maybe The Master would come up a fair bit. I don't know. I mean, what is the Paul Thomas Anderson film with the biggest cultural footprint? But my favourite is Phantom Thread. And yeah, One Battle After Another isn't up to that standard, but it is very, very good. I think it is going to win Best Picture as well. So yeah, I think this is a make good which actually makes sense. I mean, like Martin Scorsese getting it for The Departed in the end. I mean, he's The Departed even in Martin Scorsese's top 10 films he's ever produced, but that's the one that won the Oscar. But regardless, I think Paul Thomas Anderson is going to win, and I think he is going to deserve it. Chloe Zhao is a previous winner, one of only 3 women to win Best Director. And maybe Chloe Zhao is going to be the first woman to win 2 Best Director awards, because it's probably not going to be Catherine Bigelow this year. And Jane Campion doesn't even have a film out yet this year. Did I vaguely heard something in passing? Maybe she's got something coming out next year, but Chloe Zhao is probably going to get nominated. I mean, over the last few years, they have tended to not exclusively have white men as the nominees in Best Director, and Chloe Zhao ticks 2 of those boxes, being a non-white woman. But Hamnet is a beautiful film, and it's beautifully directed. I mean, the scenes of nature in it, really impressive, and obviously the acting with, in my opinion, both Jessie Buckley and Paul Mescal going to win, or should win, the Oscars in their respective categories, and that counts. So yeah, I think Chloe Zhao is definitely going to get, at the very least, nominated. I think she's actually got a pretty decent chance of winning as well, although I do think that Anderson is due. And speaking of directing great acting performances, we now come to Joachim Trier, who, in my opinion, is going to have 4 of his actors get Oscar nominations in acting categories for sentimental value. And that is a very important, a very distinct thing that a director does. and directing 4 different people in the same film to Oscar nominations. That's impressive. And quite apart from that, I mean, the way the story develops, the way the family dynamics are played, the use of voiceover. I mean, it's a really interesting use of voiceover, which is, part of the script, which is I'm going to be talking about later. It's a really, really good film. It really is. I mean, I'm on record as saying I wasn't the hugest fan of The Worst Person in the World, but this is excellent, and I do think Joachim Trier is worthy of a Best Director nomination. As is Ryan Coogler, who brings up the ratio of non-white directors. Hey, in fact, I've only got one white American man in my directing 5, haven't I? But anyway, Ryan Coogler, Sinners. Sinners was the first really, really big film to come out in the year, and everybody, when it came out, was saying, oh, this is going to sweep the Oscars, it's going to be brilliant, it's going to be a juggernaut. I never thought that, because I think it's too clever, and the Academy, I still don't think, deals with race in a particularly healthy way. But I think that the momentum has slowed, because it is a blockbuster, and it isn't in a race in the way that race likes to be dealt with in the Oscars. But, I mean, as I've said many, many, many times in these videos that I've recorded, I think the I lied to you scene in Sinners is the best scene of 2025 cinema. I mean, it was just incredibly impressive. And that's not the only really, really good piece of directing that Ryan Coogler did in Sinners. I think it's special. The whole film is special. I think he would actually be my personal choice out of the available contenders. But I mean, this is not my personal choice. That's going to be another video closer to the ceremony I'm planning on doing. But yeah, Ryan Coogler, at the very least, I think is getting nominated for Best Director. And I do think that Jafar Panahi is going to get multiple Oscar nominations. I'll be talking about that later. Firstly, because it will be a protest vote. I mean, this distant Iranian filmmaker making it was just an accident, being put under house arrest for all those years. Although I think he's actually technically out. I mean, he was allowed by the Iranian state to actually make this film, but he still made a film that's very, very anti-Iranian state. I mean, the last few scenes of this film are so devastating and say such important things about the state of living in an authoritarian theocracy. It's really, really impressive stuff, those last few scenes. I mean, so not only is this going to be a protest, but to me, a campaigning thing. I mean, look, we, the American Academy, we're so left-wing and woke and all that we're going to give Oscar nominations to this dissident Iranian filmmaker. That's what, on one hand. On the other hand, it's a really, really good film. I mean, as I've said, it's my favourite film of the year. And it is very, very well directed for me. Those final couple of scenes, I mean, god damn, that's intense stuff. But also, I mean, the level of absurdist humour he has in the film up until that point. I mean, both the directing and the screenplay, which I will be talking about later, it's just a really, really great film. And I do think that Jafar Panahi is on his way to getting a Best Director nomination at the Oscars. And that pushes out another director who has a decent record at the Academy, but I don't think this one's going to work. I mean, I don't think Yorgos Lanthimos with Begonia is actually going to get anywhere. I mean, I think Begonia is a little bit too extreme, a little bit too genre. Well, is it genre? Well, I guess it kind of is. I mean, it's kind of a thriller, isn't it? I mean, it's a kidnap thriller at the heart of it, with possible sci-fi elements, or I mean, is it sci-fi? Is it about a mental health crisis? Is it both? But it's strange. It's a strange film, and I do think it's got a very strong chance of getting adapted screenplay. I mean, I have seen the Korean film that this was based on, and yeah, it's a different film. It's a slightly different approach. I think the environmentalist message is much stronger in Begonia, but that's for the screenplay category. But it's directed really well. I mean, because we are never really sure what is going on. I mean, is this a film about aliens or not? I mean, whatever it is, I mean, there's some weird stuff going on. I mean, the flashbacks that we have of Jesse Plemons interacting with his very mentally ill mother, Alicia Silverstone, that's where Yorgos Lanthimos allows his freak flag to fly. And I mean, there's other elements as well. So I mean, there are bits here and there of the strange, the surreal Yorgos Lanthimos, but it's reasonably straightforward, but a very strange film. So I don't think he's going to get a Best Director nomination, but it does need to be on the list. And God damn it! Also on the list is Marty Supreme, and I feel like a broken record. I mean, in pretty much all of these videos that I'm recording, I mean, I just repeatedly say, I do not know what Marty Supreme is. I mean, yes, I've seen a trailer, but what information does that give us? I mean, it is. I mean, the direction of Josh Safdie, is that special in any way? Is it significant that Josh Safdie didn't get a Golden Globe nomination for Best Director? He did get a Critics' Choice nomination, but he didn't get a Golden Globe nomination for Best Director. I don't have enough faith in Marty Supreme or the direction of Josh Safdie. I mean, as I've said in other of these videos, I really didn't like Hidden Gems. I am not a fan of the Safdie brothers in general. So I don't think that's enough to get Josh Safdie a nomination for Best Director, but he certainly needs to be on the list. And I mean, the same can be said for Mona Fastvold. I mean, I still don't know what the Testament of Anne Lee is. I mean, I have seen a teaser trailer for it, and it does look good. It also looks really, really like a musical. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Who can say? But Amanda Seyfried certainly looks good. And yeah, I mean, the work of Mona Fastvold and her husband/partner, I'm not sure which, Brady Corbet. Before The Brutalist, I hadn't liked any of their work, really. I hated Vox Lux with the fiery passion of 1,000 burning suns. Brady Corbet's directorial, no, it was his second or third film. I mean, was it a Childhood of a Leader, was it? Brady Corbet's, I think that was his directorial debut. Wasn't a fan of that. I didn't like Mona Fastvold's last film, The World to Come, which, with the exception of one scene, one of the best lesbian coming out scenes I think I've ever seen, where these two women in the wilds of frontier upstate New York, they just can't help but eventually kiss each other. I mean, brilliant scene. Other than that scene, didn't like the film. So yeah, I have not been a fan of Mona Fastvold before. But this looks good. I mean, does it have enough momentum? I mean, because in terms of all these films that's being released really, really late in the process, is there going to be enough momentum to actually get it into the Oscars? I mean, I do think that Amanda Seyfried has got a very strong chance. I think that the song from The Testament of Anne Lee has got a very strong chance, although I don't think it actually got a Golden Globe nomination, which was strange. I don't know. But I still feel right in keeping Mona Fastvold on my personal list. And yeah, then we have a couple of new entries. And the first new entry is one that apparently I have to take seriously, because Guillermo del Toro got Best Director nominations in both the Critics' Choice and the Golden Globes, which rather surprised me. I mean, but I guess not, because the Critics' Choice Awards tend to be more genre, more mainstream, which is what Guillermo del Toro does. And the Golden Globes sometimes have a tendency to like films by auteurs, by people with a distinct voice, a distinct presence. I mean, it was sort of like the weirdest moment of the Golden Globe nominations when Jay Kelly and Wicked for Good didn't make Best Picture Comedy Musical, but both Blue Moon and Nouvelle Vague did, two Richard Linklater films, another auteur. I mean, Nouvelle Vague didn't even make film not in the English language, but it did make Best Film Comedy Musical? How the fuck did that happen? Apart from the fact that I think what probably happened was there were enough of the voting body who said, oh yeah, Richard Linklater, auteur, filmmaker, let's just tick both of them, that it got in. But that's beside the point. So, I mean, Guillermo del Toro is the kind of director who would do well at the Golden Globes and the Critics' Choice Awards. Is he going to get into the Oscars? I wouldn't have said so. I mean, Frankenstein was fine, I enjoyed it, but it's Guillermo del Toro doing Guillermo del Toro stuff. Is that enough to get him into the Oscars? I mean, I guess Nightmare Alley was got into the Oscars, which was strange. Frankenstein didn't strike me as the kind of film that would get Guillermo del Toro directing Oscar. I mean, it just wasn't. I mean, it was fine. I enjoyed it enough. I mean, it certainly needs to be put on the list because it did get both of those precursor nominations. So it needs to be on the list. But I still don't really believe in Frankenstein. And I still don't really believe in Guillermo del Toro as a Best Director nomination. But he needs to be on the list now. He really does. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing else really that stands out to me. I mean, Avatar: Fire and Ash got absolutely blanked at the Golden Globes and Critics' Choice Awards. I mean, other than technicals and whatever, but in the sort of like above the line categories, Avatar: Fire and Ash got nothing. So yeah, that's dead. The Smashing Machine. I mean, yes, it's weird that Benny Safdie won Best Director at Venice, but I don't think he's a genuine contender for the Oscars. So I was kind of struggling. So I decided to put in my number 10 slot a director that I personally really love. I don't think she's got a prayer of actually getting an Oscar nomination, but I need to talk about Lynn Ramsey. We need to talk about Lynn and her new film, Die My Love, which is great. I mean, it is a little bit abstract, a little bit surreal. There are certain elements of it which are challenging. There are certain bits of it where, I mean, is it even happening? I mean, it's one of those films where there's certain scenes, I mean, is that real or is that just in her head? Or is that what she wants to happen? I mean, the whole performance of Lakeith Stanfield, is that real? I don't know. But it's fascinating. It's wonderful to look at. And Jennifer Lawrence giving a brilliant performance. I mean, I talked already in my acting video that I think Jennifer Lawrence should get nominated for Best Actress. I don't think she will be. And I really don't think Lynn Ramsey's going to get nominated for Best Director, but she is one of the most interesting, one of the most innovative directors working in Hollywood at the moment. So we need to talk about Lynn. Or at least I need to, because I love her, I loved her film, and I want to promote it in any way I can. And yeah, I didn't have anything that I felt the need to put in my top 10 slot, so I just put something I wanted to put in my top 10 slot, and that is Lynn Ramsey, who I think is a genius. So yeah, there is my Best Director list. And now we move on to the next category, which is Best Adapted Screenplay. I really think that there are only two really strong contenders for this category. And what I've chosen to do is, what I did last time in my last video, actually, yeah, this is nearly the same top 5 I had last time round with one change, which I'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, it's basically the same as I said in my last video. I think they're going to split. I think Best Picture and Best Director are going to go to one battle after another. And as kind of a consolation prize, I think Best Adapted Screenplay is going to go to Hamnet, which would be worthy. I've never read the novel Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell, but the way that this film and this story talks about grief, it talks about the loss of a child, and it talks about how that can be blended and morphed and moulded into art. The final scenes in the Globe Theatre, are just really, really powerful stuff. And there's a moment, which I talked about in my acting video, where Paul Mescal is giving the to be or not to be speech standing on the ledge of a bridge. It talks about that in really upfront ways. But it's also about a marriage. It's also about an outsider, a literal outsider. The first scene is Jessie Buckley emerging from the woods. Jessie Buckley is kind of portrayed as a witch, which is an interesting angle to take. But yeah, it's got all those things. And as I said, the use of the imagery of nature, which Chloe Zhao puts into it, it's very impressive. So yeah, I think Hamnet is a great script. I also think that One Battle After Another is a great script, but in my mind, and I think it's going to be in the mind of the Academy at large, is One Battle After Another a complete film? Is it the kind of script which has the correct type of directness? As I've been saying, I think one of the fascinating things about this film, in my opinion, the point of the film is that these revolutionaries aren't actually that good at it. I think Leonardo DiCaprio is a complete stoner burnout who's only in it for his girlfriend, and Teyana Taylor gets off on chaos. She says she has these revolutionary ideals, but she just likes the chaos, and she's kind of getting off on it. I don't think these are actually very competent and very stable people. These are not the kind of revolutionaries we actually want. And personally speaking, I think that's the point of One Battle After Another. There are massive problems in the world, and these are the fucking idiots who are going to solve it? No. I think that's the point of One Battle After Another, and I think that's rather clever. But is it too clever for the Academy at large? We shall see. I still think it's a very, very strong chance of getting a nomination, maybe even winning. Maybe One Battle After Another is going to end up sweeping. I don't think it will, but it's certainly possible. That's been the pattern over the last few years. Oppenheimer won everything. Everything Everywhere All at Once won everything. Is it going to be the same with One Battle After Another? I don't think so, but it's certainly a possibility. And I certainly think that the script for One Battle After Another is going to get nominated, as is Begonia. As I've already said, I think Begonia is a little bit too strange, a little bit too much of a genre piece for the Oscars. I mean, it's a black comedy. Is it a sci-fi film? It's a thriller. It's got some weird shit in it. But it does have this environmentalist message, which I think is important. So, is that going to be enough? Maybe. I think, I mean, given what it's up against, I do think that Begonia has a strong chance of getting a nomination for Best Adapted Screenplay. So it's still on my list, and it's something I want to happen because I really liked Begonia, and I did like the script. So I do hope it gets in, and I think it will. And yeah, no other choice. How much of a contender is this going to be? I mean, is it going to end up being the foreign language film which, you know, actually makes some proper waves over things like It Was Just an Accident and Sentimental Value, and, you know, other more niche things like The Voice of Hind Rajab, or even Sirat would probably also qualify in that category. But No Other Choice, I think, has some surprising momentum. I mean, Lee Byung-hun got a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actor in a Drama, which is cool. Oh yeah, this is one of the ones I haven't yet seen, and I'm probably not going to be able to see it before the Oscars, unfortunately, which is frustrating. Is this a contender, and how much of a contender is it? I mean, that is quite up in the air at the moment. But of the options we have, I do think that No Other Choice gets into this category of adapted screenplay. And yeah, then we have the one change in this category since the last time I recorded. And this is more about what I've taken out of the top 5 than what I've put in. But what I've put in at my number 5 slot is Train Dreams. I did see Train Dreams, and it's a mood piece. It's a poetic film, I would say. There's not a great deal of plot. I think this is a quiet, simple story of a quiet, simple man. And it's got its own pace, it's got its own atmosphere. I wouldn't personally say it wowed me. I mean, there is sort of like a really big dramatic incident which happens in the middle of the film, but other than that, there's not a massive amount of plot in this. But people are taking the film seriously. People are also taking Joel Edgerton seriously. I mean, he's another performer who got both a Critics' Choice and a Golden Globe nomination. I personally don't think he's getting a Best Actor nomination at the Oscars, because in both Critics' Choice and Golden Globes they have more than 5 nominees. And I don't think that Joel Edgerton is top 5 in Best Actor at the Oscars. But he does need to be paid attention to, does need to be taken seriously. But yeah, I mean, this film, I mean, if you are in the mood for, you know, a beautiful film, I mean, it looks amazing. And it's got, you know, the wide open American vistas of, you know, or rather the forests of Idaho and Washington State. A nature, and, you know, making manifest destiny, whatever. There is something to that. Is there enough to that? Not for me personally, but I do think it needs to be taken seriously. And I did put it up into my top 5, into my nomination list, because I've taken out of my nominees Wake Up Dead Man. It was always my perspective that the first 2 Benoit Blanc films, Knives Out and Glass Onion, both got screenplay nominations at the Oscars. So I thought, oh, well, Wake Up Dead Man's just going to continue the pattern. But it didn't get nominated at either the Critics' Choice or the Golden Globes. And that was a little bit of a red flag. I mean, too much of a red flag for me to keep Wake Up Dead Man in the screenplay nominations, because it is a genre piece. It's a whodunit. And that's been good enough in the past. The Rian Johnson screenplay, the Rian Johnson style, I mean, he's a very, very clever writer, in my opinion. I mean, going all the way back to his early stuff like Brick. Not enough people have seen Brick, and certainly not enough people have seen The Brothers Bloom. I mean, once again, I'll pound the table for The Brothers Bloom. That is a beautiful, brilliant film. I love that film. And it's got that wit and intelligence to it. I mean, all of his films do. I mean, I haven't seen the Star Wars films. I mean, I haven't seen a Star Wars film since The Phantom Menace. I mean, I don't bother with the second two of the prequel trilogy. I haven't seen one since. I just don't care about Star Wars. But, yeah, his non-Star Wars stuff I have enjoyed. Oh, and that includes Poker Face on TV with the awesome Natasha Lyonne. So yeah, I mean, Rian Johnson is a great, great writer, and in the past that has been enough to keep this genre piece, these genre efforts into the Oscar race. But is that pattern going to be broken? I think it might. I mean, it concerned me enough that Wake Up Dead Man didn't get either Critics' Choice or Golden Globes that I've taken it out of my 5, but I mean, I still want to talk about it. It's still on the list. And yes, still on the list, and a demonstration of a kind of thing which might be relevant when you're adapting a classic piece of literature, I mean, part of the Western canon. Is that enough to get you a nomination? Is that enough to push you up? We shall have to see with Frankenstein. I mean, this did get a Critics' Choice nomination, which is not nothing. I mean, I personally don't think it's much, but it's not nothing. And the adaptation he made of Frankenstein is interesting. I mean, there are certain choices, certain things, certain additions. I mean, the Christoph Waltz character, the addition of that character into the story, little unnecessary in my opinion. I mean, the revelation of his motivations. I mean, on one hand, it was kind of interesting that that's what he was doing. On the other hand, it's like, well, did we actually need that in Frankenstein? I'm not 100% sure we did. So yeah, interesting choices of adaptation of a piece of classical literature, which is something I will be talking about next. But is that going to be enough? I mean, people are taking Frankenstein seriously, or seem to be taking Frankenstein seriously. I mean, Jacob Elordi seems to be a very, very legitimate contender for supporting actor. Maybe even Oscar Isaac for leading actor. I personally don't entirely see it, but we shall see. And there is always a challenge when you are adapting a piece of classical literature, particularly a piece of classical literature from previous centuries. But what Nia DaCosta has done with Hedda is, in my opinion, remarkable. Nia DaCosta made significant changes to the original Henrik Ibsen play Hedda Gabler for this film version Hedda, and I think all of them worked. I mean, there's a secondary character who is completely excluded. He switched the gender of one of the main characters. The Nina Hoss character is a man in the play, and now has had a lesbian relationship in the past with this character. This is not a colourblind project. It is a small point of contention that Hedda, played by Tessa Thompson, is not white. I mean, that is made reference to. It's not a major part of it, but it is there. And she changed the ending. The film Hedda does not end in the same way that the play Hedda Gabler does. And personally speaking, I think that's a vast improvement. And I can't help feeling that the male playwright Henrik Ibsen, working in the 19th century, felt the need to end his play that way. But in the 21st century, a female creative chose to end the play in a different way. And I think it works. I mean, I think the film, I mean, I've said in many of these videos, I think the film Hedda is awesome. But I'm really, really impressed with the adaptation of Hedda Gabler into Hedda. And that's what this category is. It's adapted screenplay. And the job of adaptation that Nia DaCosta did, I think was hugely impressive. So yeah, this is another one that it's a personal choice for me. Hedda is not going to get anywhere because Amazon Prime just dumped it. I mean, Amazon MGM just dumped it onto Prime. And yes, Tessa Thompson did get a Golden Globe nomination, which is awesome. But when it comes to Oscars, it's not going to be enough. Not enough people are going to be paying attention to this. Not enough of the voting body are going to want to promote this. So it's not going to get anywhere in the Oscars, which is enormously frustrating. But that's the reality. And yeah, Hedda is still on my list. I still think it's awesome. And it's the job of adaptation, which I think is so impressive in this particular category. Kind of just making up the numbers at this point. Wicked for Good. I know nothing about musical theatre. That's not my scene. That's not my thing. But supposedly, the second half of the play, Wicked, is notoriously weak compared to the first. And that's been played out. I mean, I actually quite liked Wicked for Good. When you take down the show-stopping numbers and you take up the political subtext, that's my bag. That's my thing. I liked that. But for other people, it hasn't worked. And yeah, I don't think this is getting anywhere, quite honestly. But I kind of needed to make up the numbers, and it's got some profile. And similarly to what I did in my Best Director category, putting something that I want to put into this category, it's the same film. It's Die My Love. And involved in the writing of Die My Love is Alice Birch, who is a writer I'm a big, big fan of. She wrote the film Lady Macbeth, which was basically Florence Pugh's big break, or certainly the first time that I think a lot of people thought, oh, who's that? She's really good. So she wrote Lady Macbeth. And she also wrote a film called The Wonder. Actually, again, that was Florence Pugh again, wasn't it? The Sebastian Silver film set in Ireland about a woman who's trying to disprove a miracle. And yeah, that goes into some really interesting places. I mean, that it was on Netflix and not enough people saw it, but The Wonder is a really, really good film. And Alice Birch wrote that as well. So yeah, Alice Birch was involved in the writing of Die My Love. She's a very, very talented writer. In working alongside Lynn Ramsey as well, and Enda Walsh, who I believe is a novelist, but I'm not familiar with. But it's a great team, and yes, I mean it is a little bit abstract. It is a little bit surreal. I think there's a decent chance that there will be people who won't get Die My Love. And will there be enough people who don't get it to make it not work? I mean, it's almost certainly not going to get nominated. I mean, there's too many other stuff in there, but I mean, as I said, similarly to my best director list, I just put something I wanted to put in on my number 10 slot in this category. And yes, moving on to the next category, original screenplay. And once again, I think this is kind of a two-horse race. I think in adapted screenplay, it's probably going to be Hamnet or One Battle After Another. And there are two films at the top of this category, which I also think are just probably going to win. And my choice at the moment is Sentimental Value. I think the writing of Sentimental Value, the dialogue, the interactions. I mean, Eskil Vogt, who I've said many times in the past, I think is a brilliant filmmaker in his own right, working alongside Joachim Trier. The dynamics, the family interactions of this film are really, really well put together. The emotion, the psychology of it. It's really intimate in the best way. And yeah, I think it works. And kind of at the other end of the spectrum is Sinners, which is a big, bombastic blockbuster. It's a vampire movie, it's a horror movie. But it's also got other things on its mind. I mean, the racial elements of it are there, but as I've said previously, not talking about race in the way that the Academy tends to appreciate, but it is there. And also this idea of music and cultural appropriation. I mean, not only do these white vampires want to take this black group's blood, they also want to take their music, they want to take their culture, they want to take it and use it for their own. And are we okay with that? Probably not. We shouldn't be anyway. So yeah, I mean, Sinners is very, very clever. I mean, for a blockbuster, it's really intelligent. But it is a blockbuster, so I think that the winner in this category is going to be Sentimental Value. And I do genuinely believe that It Was Just an Accident is also going to get into Best Original Screenplay, as it's going to get into Best Director. I mean, Jafar Panahi as an individual got 2 nominations at the Golden Globes. I also think he's going to get 2 nominations at the Academy Awards, because technically the international feature is going to go to France, because France submitted it. It's not going to go to Jafar Panahi as an individual. But I think he is going to get into Best Director, and I think he's going to get into Best Screenplay, and I think he's going to be deserving on both counts. I mean, as I said, I mean, the directions this film goes in are not really the directions I anticipated. It does have, you know, very, very black but very absurd humour running all the way through it. And also that moral question of, I mean, this guy convinces himself that this person he randomly meets. I mean, this guy walks into his garage and he is convinced that this is the guy that tortured me, but he's not sure. So A, how do you get sure? And B, if it is proved that this is the guy that tortured you, what are you going to do about it? Are you a good man? And then, you know, absurd things, I mean, things pile one on top of the other on top of the other, and he proves to himself and everybody around him that he is a good man. But that was that situation. This other situation, as he's being a good man, he's still got the guy kidnapped. So the morals and ethics of this are brilliant. I mean, as I said already, the last couple of scenes are so well done. This is just a brilliant film. It is my favourite film of 2025, and I do think it's worthy of getting an Oscar nomination for original screenplay. And I actually think it's going to get it. So, you know, fingers crossed for Jafar Panahi and Best Original Screenplay. And yes, it's broken record time because I do not know what to do with Marty Supreme. Is this going to end up being a great script? What I've seen of it and what I know of it, I think I'm pretty safe in saying that Timothée Chalamet is going to be good. I feel comfortable saying that. So I feel comfortable saying he's going to get into Best Actor and he's probably going to deserve it. I can't say anything else with confidence about Marty Supreme until I see it. So we shall have to see. I mean, it's coming out at Christmas or Boxing Day here in the UK is when those films come out. Might even get a preview before that, but we shall see. I don't know. I mean, is a film about a ping pong hustler going to be Oscar worthy? Who knows? I mean, try explaining the plot of Everything Everywhere All at Once and saying that's going to be an Oscar winning film. Hard to do. So who knows? Maybe Marty Supreme is going to be something, but I just don't know. But it's going to be a nominee, I think. I'm moving up into my nomination slots for this particular video. I mean, similarly to what I was talking about in the adapted screenplay category, it's more about what I'm taking out than what I'm putting in. But I have seen Jay Kelly, and I do think that the script is pretty interesting. I think it is a film about a very, very self-important person, and therefore the film itself can come across a little bit as self-important. But it is... I basically, the way I describe Jay Kelly is it is a man who is forced to confront himself and his own personality and has a massive case of imposter syndrome. Do I deserve all the success I have? What did I do to get here? Was it worth it? And it's also about friendship, about male friendship. I mean, his best friend is Adam Sandler, but as he cruelly points out at one point, Adam Sandler is his friend who takes 15% because he's his manager, but he is the only friend he's got. And what does that say? I mean, there's interesting stuff in here, but I can easily see that people will be annoyed by the character of Jay Kelly and therefore maybe be annoyed by the film and the script. But I do think at the moment it's worthy of being in my nomination list, particularly since I'm taking out a film I put in my last video to my nomination slot, and that is A House of Dynamite, which I have actually seen since the last time I recorded one of these videos, and honestly I think the main problem with A House of Dynamite is the script. Because it was written by Noah Oppenheim, who is a newsman. I mean, he ran the NBC newsroom for years. He's not a screenwriter. And he deeply researched this situation of what would happen if a nuclear attack was incoming to the United States. He really researched, he really figured it out. And he figured out just how fucked we actually are if this actually happened. I mean, and the subtext, I think, is that the President and the Secretary of Defense in this film, Idris Elba and Jared Harris, they're competent. They're good people. And it's not enough. So when we have the orange arsehole and the Secretary of War actually in charge, Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth, who are not competent, if this situation happens and they're in those seats, we are so fucked. And that's what Noah Oppenheim was trying to say. He was trying to get this bitter pill, sugarcoat this bitter pill. I mean, put it in a thriller, put it in a film, and give it to the people saying, look at this situation, look how bad this actually is. Are we going to do anything about it? Can we do anything about it? That, I think, is what Noah Oppenheim was trying to say. And he did. But then he didn't have an ending for the movie. He didn't know the most appropriate or the most satisfying way to end the movie. So he just didn't end it. I was deeply frustrated at the end of House of Dynamite. I mean, my reaction, and apparently the reaction to a lot of people to a House of Dynamite, is when it's over, it's like, huh? And that's what it is. So yeah, on some levels, I think House of Dynamite does work, but because it does highlight these issues, it does tell you how deeply fucked we are about our nuclear defence. But it's not actually a good film. It's a way of giving us information that we perhaps need to know. But is it a piece of entertainment? I would say no. So yeah, House of Dynamite does have problems, and the biggest problem is its script. So I did have it in my nomination list last time. It's not in anymore. And yeah, consistently in my contenders list since the beginning is Sorry Baby. And I'm very, very pleased that the screenplay for Sorry Baby got a Critics' Choice nomination, and Eva Victor got a nomination for Best Actress in a drama. The way that films get categorised between drama and comedy, I mean, a musical is a musical, but drama and comedy? Some odd stuff there, but at least she got nominated. I'm so pleased for Eva Victor, both as screenwriter and actress. I mean, and I've said all along, I think Sorry Baby is an awesome piece of work. I mean, it doesn't really go in the directions you expect it to go, but it does highlight the issues of a traumatized woman. I mean, going through something very unpleasant with a male professor. I mean, she's a graduate student. It is a drama. It does have comedic elements. I mean, everything with the cat is quite funny. Weirdly, everything with Lucas Hedges is quite funny. I mean, the cat and Lucas Hedges play similar roles in the film, thinking about it, which is odd. But, yeah, it doesn't go in the direction you expect. I mean, sort of like traumatized woman, I mean, this bad thing happened to her. That I think there's sort of like a pattern you have in your head about what that film's going to be. And Sorry Baby isn't exactly that. So, yeah, I was impressed with it. I really hope it does get attention. I don't think it's actually going to get nominated, but I'm keeping it on the list because I really like Sorry Baby. I'm so pleased it got the Critics' Choice nomination for Screenplay and the Golden Globe nomination for Actress, both going to Eva Victor. I think it's great. I mean, if you can cope with it, because it is, potentially triggering, but Sorry Baby is great, and I hope that it gets paid attention to. I've still got the Testament of Van Lee in this. I think maybe I'm less confident in the screenplay now I've seen that teaser trailer, but it is just a teaser trailer. That's all we've seen of Van Lee, or the majority of people have seen of Van Lee. Being that it does seem to be rather a musical, I'm not sure. We shall have to see. I just don't know. I mean, and as I said a bit earlier, I mean, the work of Mona Fastvold and Brady Corbet, I haven't liked a lot of it in the past. I mean, none of it until The Brutalist. So, is this going to be The Brutalist again, or is it going to be, the bad stuff like Vox Lux or The World to Come? We shall see, but I'm not going to be seeing it anytime soon, because that's one I'm not 100% sure I'm going to be able to see that before the ceremony, but who knows? But it's on the list. And a new entry on the list is something that I honestly think more people should be paying attention to, because I saw it and I really liked it, but I don't think it's actually going to get anywhere in the Oscars. I think Is This Thing On was surprisingly good. I think the things it says about a long-term marriage and the struggles of long-term marriage, and a long-term marriage ending, because at the very beginning of the film, Will Arnett and Laura Dern say, Yeah, I think we should split up. I mean, there's no big argument. There's no sort of issues with the marriage. It's just, this isn't working anymore, is it? And just very dispassionately, very quietly say, we're separating. And then Will Arnett finds a new lease on life through stand-up comedy. I mean, this film is very much based on the life of British stand-up comedian John Bishop, who is very, very funny and very, very popular here in the UK. And it's basically his life story with a few tweaks, a few fictionalizations. But, I mean, John Bishop has a story credit on this, and he's also an executive producer on this. So, does that mean that if this does get nominated, I think that would mean that John Bishop would be an Oscar nominee? Because if he's got a story by credit, I think that's enough to get him a nomination. That'll be interesting. But I don't think this is happening because not enough people are paying attention to this. But I think they should, because I think this is very, very good. I think Will Arnett was surprisingly good in a mostly serious role. I mean, we're used to Will Arnett in reasonably broad comedies, but he acts in this. He really acts in this. And finding this new lease on life, being a stand-up comedian and, I'm actually good at this. I have a new lease on life. I have a new verve for life. Yes, it's unusual, but it does work. And the things it says about that stage in your life and that stage in your marriage, I think is actually really, really good. So, yeah. Is this thing on? I think is very, very good. I think more people should be paying attention to it. And yeah, it's on this list, although it's probably not going to get nominated. And yeah, now we come to a film I haven't yet talked about extensively on these videos, because this is the first video I've recorded since I've actually seen it, since it was released cinematically last week here in the UK. And that's the new Richard Linklater film Blue Moon, which is getting attention. Ethan Hawke got, I think, both precursors. Yeah, he got Critics' Choice and Golden Globe nominations for Best Actor. And Ethan Hawke is really, really good in this. It's set up to be an Ethan Hawke showcase, because he plays Lorenz Hart of Rodgers and Hart, drunk off his arse in this Broadway bar as Oklahoma is premiering, the first Rodgers and Hammerstein musical, which he knows is going to be great. So he's been kicked to the curb because he was such an unreliable alcoholic, and now he's drinking himself to death in this bar. And pretty much everything, particularly in the first half of the film, it's not so much conversations between Lorenz Hart and the barman played by Bobby Cannavale and Patrick Kennedy, who went at this point in history was an essayist, but went on to become a very famous children's book author, writing things like Charlotte's Web and Stuart Little. And according to this film, Lorenz Hart gave him the title for Stuart Little. But his friends, this barman and this writer he admires, it's not so much conversations between them as Bobby Cannavale and Patrick Kennedy, playing E.B. White, are giving him prompts for Lorenz Hart to make these speeches. So it is very much designed to be a showcase for Ethan Hawke, for the Lorenz Hart character. And, I mean, there's nothing especially wrong with that, but it's very much a chamber piece. I mean, it's entirely in this bar Sardi's, where the after show party for the premiere of Oklahoma is happening upstairs. So I'm guessing it's sort of like a New York landmark. I don't know, but it's a chamber piece. There's one little scene at the beginning where we see Lorenz Hart dying, and it says 7 months earlier, and it's the rest of the film is in Sardi's on the premiere night of Oklahoma. It's kind of like a play. I mean, very much a staged performance, an enclosed performance. something especially wrong with that. I mean, but yeah, Ethan Hawke is really, really good in it. And I think the script actually allows Ethan Hawke to be great in it. I mean, like I said, having all these monologues that Lorenz Hart is giving, I mean, this person who knows that he is great, or at least was great, but now he kind of knows that he's been kicked to the curb, and when his interactions with Andrew Scott playing Richard Rodgers, I mean, it's kind of heartbreaking, because you can see that Andrew Scott's very good in it as well, but Andrew Scott, Richard Rodgers, this is the man who helped him. I mean, I wouldn't be here without Lorenz Hart. I mean, I am this world famous composer. I'm going to make millions off this play, Oklahoma. I'm set for life, and it's because of this guy in front of me, and I love him. But he's such an unreliable alcoholic, I just had to cut ties with him. And I didn't want to do it, I didn't like doing it, but I had to. And yeah, I mean, there's so much going on here. I mean, if you're looking for that kind of intimate chamber piece, that's what Blue Moon is. And it's really, really good at doing it. So yeah, I mean, I think Ethan Hawke should be really, really high on the contenders list for Best Actor. And I don't think the screenplay is getting an awful lot of attention, but I think it's actually a good screenplay, and I think it deserves to be on this list. So yeah, in my number 10 slot, that is Blue Moon. And yeah, you might have noticed that I'm keeping off this list The Secret Agents and Weapons. I mean, I have personal biases against both of those films. I mean, as I've just recorded an addendum for my last video about Wagner Moura and Amy Madigan. I've my record is saying The Secret Agent, I didn't like it, and Weapons, it's a horror movie. I mean, it's a good horror movie, maybe even a great horror movie, but it's a horror movie. And I don't think it's so clever, so transcendent, so intelligent that it's actually going to get anywhere. I mean, Sinners already has that market covered. I mean, because Sinners, yes, it's a vampire movie, but it's so much more than that. Weapons isn't. So yeah, Weapons isn't on my list, but that is my top 10. And yeah, that is the end of this video. I really don't know when I'm going to be recording another one of these videos. I think I'm going to be recording something next Tuesday, because that's when the shortlists for loads and loads of categories get published, including international feature and documentary feature. So I might have things to say about that. Also, best song. Over the last couple of years, I've become really, really fascinated by the race for best song. So I might do something about that. But yeah, I might do something once the shortlists are publicly announced next Tuesday. We're getting really, really close to when the actual nominations are going to be announced. I think probably at the end of December, after I've seen Marty Supreme. I mean, I have to have watched Marty Supreme by the time I record next. That's probably when my next write-off of predictions videos is going to happen. But yeah, there's plenty of other stuff on this channel. Charmed TV reactions I'm going to have to get back to. I really want to do a reaction video to Wake Up Dead Man, see if I can figure it out when Rian Johnson being all clever and intricate. So that might be coming pretty soon if I actually finish it, actually get around to it. But have a look around on my channel, maybe find something like there's a couple of video essays, there's lots of reaction videos, both TV and film. If you watched this far into this video, maybe I deserve a like. You can also leave a comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do anything which helps the algorithm promote this tiny, tiny little channel. But for right now, I think that is where I leave you. So, all that remains for me to say is this has been a presentation of the Yay, Nay or Mad channel, and I'll see you next time where I shine a light on TV and cinema, both obvious and obscure.